What's up? Go ahead. You work on it. We're not going to start immediately, so go ahead, Chad. Do what you need to do here. Okay, so listen, we're still getting everything set up. So while we're getting things set up here, I want to invite everyone to go to hankstrange.com, sign up for our email list. The best way to figure out all the different ways you could support us, all the good things we have going on there. I want to invite everyone to smash those thumbs up, share this video. It's going to be a big video tonight. Shout out to Walther Arms, who is the sponsor of the podcast tonight. We appreciate those guys sponsoring us. And let's see, we got to wait for Chad to do jazz hands. I don't know where he went off to, but let me see. I'll press the open button while we're waiting for him to come back over here.
Welcome back.
All right, there we
to
go.
Hank's Strange Situation.
Okay, cool.
Lifestyles of the
Make sure you
locked and
guys
loaded.
subscribe, thumbs up, ring the bell so you can be notified every time we go live here. We do have a couple of different things going on, but shout outs to everyone that's out there. Biggest thing you could do to help us out tonight, smash those thumbs ups, okay? And share this with friends. Okay, there goes Chad. All right, guys, this is a tradition here on the show. We got to do jazz hands. There you go. Chad, jazz hands. There you go. Everyone's doing jazz hands. All right. I hope you guys are ready. I hope you have your big girl panties on. This is episode 589 of the Who Moved My Freedom podcast. I'm your host, Hank Strange. Our guest tonight, Palmetto State Armory and Brownells well, not really in the building. I guess I can't say in the building. Yeah, kind of in the building. Check it out. So we've got Roy here. Let me close up on Roy.
Hey.
This is Roy from Brownells. He's flying the flag for Brownells. Roy, tell the people what you do at Brownells real quick.
I do, my official job title is Public Relations and Media Relations, but pretty much I do whatever they tell me to do.
All right. Okay, sounds good. We have Josiah here from PSA, Palmetto State Armory. Josiah, what's up? Welcome to the show. Do you want to tell the people what you do at Palmetto State Armory?
Yeah, similar to Roy, I'm a consumer relations manager. I handle a lot of the non-traditional customer service outside of Facebook, and I do your forums, AR15.com, whatnot. I handle some of the more random things that come across and that traditional customer service doesn't handle, and I also do affiliate marketing as well.
Okay, very cool. And there he goes, Chad Wiley, also of PSA, joining us from, I don't know, some kind of palace or something where he's sitting out in the garden.
It's my wife's birthday party, so I hate I had those issues. We went out to dinner, and I came back, and I had stuff going on in the house, so I came outside. And you guys, there be a baby or a kid crying in the background shortly,
That's
here.
fine.
I made it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fine. Chad, tell the folks out there what you do at PSA.
I'm the CEO of PSA. I also do a lot of kind of like in conjunction with what Josiah's doing. I'm on Facebook a lot. I do a lot of customer relations type stuff. It's kind of turned into an odd role as a CEO to be as engaged with customers as I am. But
yeah, man.
You know, I'm a gun guy first. I'm a competitive shooter. I'm out at ranges every day. So for us to be able to get feedback and things from our customers, you have to be one with them, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have to live the lifestyle like they do, and that's kind of where I fit in. You know, other than the day-to-day running the warehouse, the manufacturing and all that with AKs and everything.
Yeah.
I do a lot of the social media coverage too.
Awesome.
And we've kind of set a new standard, I think, with customer engagement on how manufacturers deal with individual relationships of consumers.
Okay, awesome. And that's basically what we wanted to do today. Basically, Josiah and I were talking. We were talking about some questions and things like that people had about customer service, you know, things that are going on right now, supplies, what's in stock, all of that. And we were like, you know what, maybe we should do a podcast like this and answer people's questions. And then we got Roy from Brownells to also jump on. So basically, we've got I don't know, I think the two biggest retailers out there right now, you know, in the country when it comes to firearms. We've got their representatives here. So this is really going to be a show for the folks out there. If you guys have questions, we will take your questions here. Also, what I wanted to do was catch up with everyone. So let's see. I'll start with Roy. Roy, Brownells, what's going on right now? Because when I'm talking and getting feedback from people around the country, and any, you know, Chad, Josiah, you guys could jump in here as well. I'm getting feedback that everything is being sold. Records are being broken insofar as sales. There's nothing available in stores. How are you guys seeing it there, Roy, at Brownells?
Right. Well, I don't know if you caught it, but about a week ago or so, our chairman Pete Brownell was actually on Fox Business with Stuart Varney, talking about some of these things. And if I remember correctly, the specific timeline, things started a little nuts for us about March the 8th, of course, with all the round of COVID-19 shutdowns starting. And that's when we started seeing runs on popular calibers of ammunition, pretty much specifically 9mm and 5.56. And then as the shutdowns lasted longer and more people started to realize, hey, we might be on our own, we saw, of course, old news police departments saying they weren't going to answer certain types of calls. And this, of course, was before all the social unrest with what started in Minneapolis. That and the social unrest and the protests and the riots and calls to defund police departments, et cetera, in various cities.
It seems like we just keep getting one thing after another here.
Are pretty much just gasoline dumped on an already raging fire. And the other thing that we've noticed is a lot of the businesses, a lot of the companies, the vendors whose stuff we sell, they are hampered, depending on which state they're in, by their own COVID-19 situation. So it's starting to hit logistics. It's starting to be a supply chain issue, just because some companies haven't been able to ramp up production as much as they would have been, just because they've been limited by the COVID-19 shutdowns. But just on a personal note, I was myself shopping for 5.56 ammo today, and I think we had like 3 SKUs in stock, and it was all high-end target ammo.
Did you go over and check PSA's site? They might have some. No, I'm just.
Actually, no, I did. Right.
There's gonna be jokes like this.
I don't think go check out Brownells.
Yeah, there's gonna be jokes like this. Absolutely.
Oh yes, I'm ready.
Friendly rivalry, you know. Next thing after this, I'm expecting like a baseball match or something with PSA and Brownells. So, yeah, go ahead, Josiah.
Actually shop at Brownells.
Yeah.
No, I was just say we're all in it for the Second Amendment. So I mean, there's friendly competition, but there's all we're in the same thing together for the Second Amendment. So while there is competition, there's also good relationships there. But to go, to kind of piggyback on what Roy's saying, ours started about the same time. Really, March 13th is where our e-commerce just saw it just blow up. And like he was saying, any 9mm, 223, and 5.56. And what's really taken off, is your ammo, popular calibers, completed ARs, AR-15 build kits. Everybody's already got tons of strip lowers. People wanted build kits, uppers, completed lowers for the folks. There's a lot of first-time buyers out there, a ton of them. And so we're seeing a ton of first-time buyers who they know how to slap 2 pins together and do a complete upper and a complete lower. So we're seeing a lot of that, but not as much people building out, but a lot of first-time buyers.
Okay. All right, Chad, would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, I mean, I think it goes a little bit deeper than that. I mean, everything on the website sold out. I mean, we're seeing. We're right now capacity about 2,000 uppers a day. We're about 750 to 800 lowers, both stripped and built up. We're shipping about 2,000 packages out of our serialized warehouse. We're averaging about 7,000 to 8,000 out of the back. I mean, it's just nobody was expecting this, and the customer side of it. I don't know if Brownells. I don't know if you guys are seeing it too, but. I mean, our customers are becoming increasingly impatient, way more than I've ever seen, really.
Yeah.
I mean, I've all but got death threats about guns trying to get to them in a timely manner, and you just can't. I think the frustrating part for me is, you get beat up. Well, they need to add this to customer service, customer service has seen a 360% increase in contacts. So whereas last year this time we were getting like 1,000 emails and 1,000 calls a day. This last week, we averaged 4,500 emails a day.
Wow.
And we're seeing upwards of 2,000 or 3,000 phone calls a day. A lot of them were within 24 to 48 hours of an order being placed, wanting to know where the package was. So you got all these people wanting to know, where's my stuff, where's my stuff, where's my stuff. It's kind of, I get it. People's in fear right now. But, I mean, for me, yes, the ammo and the guns have sold, but everything, tools, soft goods, holsters, back, cleaning kits, anything and everything that has anything to do with a firearm right now, you can sell, and it's going out in droves. Even the accessories, the aftermarket accessories, before, when we'd see and you'd see the standard SKUs go out, right? And I created the PSA custom series about a year ago. Hank, we've talked about that before. It's kind of like it's the over and beyond accessory line, so to speak, of things that we use in competition, stuff that we play around with, different products that we normally wouldn't consider mil spec. That stuff's selling so fast, I can't keep up with it either. I mean, DLC bolts, colored charging handles. I mean, just anything and everything that you could think of is just flying off the shelves. And I think you had COVID, you have the defund the police movement, you've got the riots, you've got just everything's kind of hitting at one time, and people are nervous, like Atlanta for right now. I mean, we saw a huge uptick in Georgia orders. Oh yeah, Georgia orders were
just overnight, because I think this story in Atlanta is kind of taken over the spotlight. What, in the last 48 hours or something like that?
Yeah, the police, the DA charged that guy, and then the next morning, the GBI. But basically, I've got friends there. The police walked off. The police said that, you're not going to support me. I'm leaving my job. And GBI was asked to kind of help police and whatnot. Well, the GBI came out with a statement this morning and said that they hadn't even finished their investigation. They just started it. And there's no information passed on to the district attorney, blah, blah, blah. And the police are still walking off. The mayor had to do a news conference pleading for them to come back today. So, I mean, you've got people in Georgia that are being unprotected because they're, whatever the ideology of the situation is with the police department. So,
basically, we're getting what we ask for. I think, it's a tough situation. I was reading a letter here the other day from the owner of Franklin Armory, where he was basically saying most of us in America agree with people being upset at what happened to George Floyd. We're all upset by that. Yeah. We're all angered by that. That should not be the way that it is in America. But we were already as everyone's been saying here, we're already taking a massive blow from basically forcing everything to shut down in America over COVID. Then there's protests, which are valid, but those protests have turned into riots and looting and destruction, and then there's this massive call for defunding the police, which you ask for it, you could get it. So all of those things are scaring the living daylights out of people. And one of the things that I'm seeing, there's those of us who are, I don't know, maybe the regular gun guys. We're always buying stuff, we're always building things and doing stuff. Well, a massive amount of these sales is not coming from us.
Right.
New first time people.
Yeah, and this is the reason. This is why they're buying everything, right?
Yep. Yeah, I talked to a lady
from people I never would have thought in a million years would own a gun, ask me, "Hey, Chad, what do you think about this? What do you?" I mean, high school teachers and people I had lost contact with that know what I do now.
Yeah,
they're asking for advice on what to buy because they've never bought a gun before. It's kind of like I'm their firearms Sherpa, right? Trying to navigate the mountain of what to do, and you're right. There's a lot of first time with that. I think is what we see, on the frustration side of the consumer. Everybody, that group of people, I think, are used to Amazon. So when you place an order, it comes the next day. And we're not Amazon. We're never going to be Amazon. It's going to be very hard for us to ever get to that level, just because we're a manufacturer too. A lot of our,
and there's these things called laws.
Yeah,
and there's the ATF. And there's certain processes and procedures that need to be followed.
It's hard to ship a serialized item. I mean, it is what it is. It takes time, and it's not a same day. When you're getting 20,000 orders, in a system, and you can only gear up to do 2,000 to 3,000 a day, it's a time game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Josiah, I think you were trying to get something in.
Well, I was just going to say a couple things. I've encouraged so many of our customers who I talk to. My email address gets out. I've given it out on your podcast before. They email me and you're like, hey, where's my order at? What's going on? I found out they ordered, 1 or 2 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to let people know, like, hey, if you've ordered within the past 5 days,
Mm-hmm.
just hold off. We're not going to, if you've ordered, just, if it's been less than 5 days, don't send an email. Don't call us. We've got your order. We're going to get it out as quickly as possible.
Yep.
It's just that we don't want the email and the phones going off. Right now, we're not taking phone calls, but the emails right now, all the customer service reps are on emails, and we don't want them getting flooded with, hey, I ordered 2 days ago. Where's my order?
Mm-hmm.
Instead, if there's somebody who genuinely has an issue, we want to be able to handle that, and waiting through all those emails that it's like, hey, it's been 5 days or less, where's my order at, will help us a lot. And to piggyback on what the first time gun owners, I talked to a lady who lived just outside of New York City. She's never owned a gun in her life. She bought a pistol with a high capacity magazine.
Mm-hmm.
And she said she had no idea what the laws were.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, I didn't know that there was a capacity limit. She's like, that's fine. Just leave the magazines out and send me the gun. I'll buy my own magazines. And she said it scares her for defund the police. She said, I've never thought of owning a gun in my life, but with a chance of me calling 911 and not being a cop being able to get there and defend me, she said, now I realize why the Second Amendment is there. She's like, it's my right to defend myself. And I thought that was amazing. And there's light bulbs going off in people's head that I'm talking to on a daily basis. I do a little bit more one-on-one talking 15, 20 minutes with people. And I've had quite a few of those conversations. I'd say at least 4 or 5 per day over, the past 3 or 4 months.
Yeah,
Right.
it's a blessing and a curse, right, Roy?
Right. Blessing and a curse. I've personally had several conversations both on the phone and via email or social media with folks who, because they know what I do, they've been asking me what kind of gun they should buy, et cetera, et cetera. Mm-hmm. One of the things Brownells did in response to this is about 2 weeks ago, we put out on our YouTube channel a video called Should I Buy a Gun? We were working with a competitive shooter. Her name is Tess Salb. She competes in the tactical games currently. Mm-hmm. She actually was a pentathlete hopeful for the Olympics a few years ago. And we've got a couple other videos designed specifically for first-time gun buyers, walking them through the process, what to expect when they go inside a gun store, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, absolutely, there is a huge spike in first-time gun buyers. And you've seen all sorts of stories and accounts in both in endemic gun media and also, if you want to, mainstream regular media. I mean, there were... I saw a story just a few days ago about various public gun companies and what their stock prices were doing. So lots and lots of interest. I for one, hope lots of these first time, as you were saying, the light goes off for a lot of people. They don't understand, they don't get it until it affects them. And once it affects them, they say, oh my gosh, this pertains to me. Oh, wait, this is different now, right? I'm hoping there are lots of light bulb moments happening all across the country for folks who otherwise previously had not been into gun ownership or the Second Amendment itself.
Right, exactly. Let me just get this comment in real quick from Flying Rich. He gave us a couple of bucks. He says, #BOP, Roy. And he says, at Shooting Gallery, any is worth BOP, so there you go. If the PSA guys don't know what that is, BOP is Bureau of Propaganda, which is the propaganda wing of Brownells. It's like a little club. Yeah, you remember the...
people say cult. We prefer to say club, not cult.
Yeah. If you remember Disney, it's kind of like the Mickey Mouse Club, something like that. Right. Just if you could imagine it.
Decoders are cooler.
Yeah. So I know. Like what Chad was saying. I think all of you guys are saying this. The systems that you guys have set up, and you're pretty big companies, right? You're pretty big companies. You're already dealing with a lot of stuff, but you never had the system set up to deal with this. And let's be honest, coming off of SHOT Show 2020. No one saw this. There were lots of companies that were literally going out of business. They had overproduced. They had overproduced ARs and different things like that, expecting maybe Hillary to win or something, and everyone was going to buy everything, and then that just like sent down the prices of ARs, and there was just this, they couldn't sell these things, they couldn't move them out of the warehouses, and everyone was in cautious mode, and then boom, right? You get hit with this. Yep. Have you even spoken to people about scaling up your ability to deal with any of this stuff? I think, Chad, you're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sorry. So we in the last 2 weeks, I think we've added close to 45, 50 new job recs to bring people in. Mm-hmm. And plus we've reached out to all the vendors. The vendors are all trying to get as much as they can into production, but everybody's fighting for the same resources, right? So not everybody's, we saw this happen several years ago. And people jumped up and they bought all these machines, and they extended their lines of credit, and they did all this expansion. Mm-hmm. And then you had this suckhole, boom, it collapsed. Mm-hmm. Caused a lot of people a lot of grief, had a lot of problems with it. I think people's being skeptical. So if your shop's got 300 spindles, that's it. They're not adding more. They're running more shifts, but they're not going to go and expend millions of dollars on more machinery, because there's probably going to be a hangover to this.
Yeah.
So once this calms down, the hangover is probably going to be worse than it was during the Trump slump, which is what happened during SHOT Show this last year. Obama was a great gun salesman. Whatever your political affiliation is, he sold a lot of guns, and then Trump came in, and I think people were like, for whatever reason,
don't need them.
Sigh of relief. It's good. We're good. They're not going to take our stuff, and then we did the little bump stock thing. But other than that, I think people felt confident that the guns were going to stay, and people stopped buying. Mm-hmm. Well, now fast forward into this. This is worse than anything we saw during the Obama administration.
Yeah.
This is like Black Friday every day for going on 6 months now. We saw an uptick in March, but I don't know about you guys, but we've been busy since October of last year. Really, November of last year. Mm-hmm. We really didn't see a downturn like we normally would.
Yeah.
So I think people's being skeptical. We're all fighting for the same resources. You hear these people on the internet that'll argue with you where the stuff comes out of the same shop. About 70% of it legitimately comes from the same, a lot of the same manufacturers.
Yeah, it has to. If you're talking about foundries and forges and things like that, you can't just set those up anywhere.
Right.
Yeah, it's a small community, and we all share a lot of the same resources. And those guys are being skeptical about adding more machinery, and I get it. We're adding machinery, but we're kind of growing our own manufacturing kingdom anyway. But some of these shops that all they do is OEM, we're different. So that we've got the machines, we've got the retail wing, we've got the marketing wing, we've got all these different pieces, so we can kind of control our own destiny, right? So if we add equipment, we can kind of absorb that on the retail side by deciding what the cost to consumer is going to be. Mm-hmm. These other little shops that do OEM work, they can't afford another crisis. Mm-hmm. So yes, to answer your question, we try to maximize whatever we can to ramp up until the point that company feels confident that they can continue supporting an environment post the fear.
And being careful, because if when we come off of this, I don't know when it's going to be. You guys can give predictions. It's probably not going to be until after the elections, and really that depends on how those elections go.
Right.
I think we're too. Exactly. I'm going to be honest with you. I think either which way it goes, the gun sales are going to continue. Mm-hmm. If Trump wins, people's going to be mad. There's going to be riots. If Trump loses, people's going to be scared they're going to lose their guns. So this is a no-win situation, I guess, for the American public, which is sad. Mm-hmm. But everybody's kind of, the fear is what scares me. We're selling a lot of stuff to a lot of scared people. It's not like I'm hoarding this and you got your occasional prepper every other customer, right?
Mm-hmm.
America's turning into preppers.
Everyone.
Mhm.
Yeah.
People who make fun of preppers
Yeah.
are preppers.
Right.
A crash course. I think
Right.
that's like what you were saying, right, Roy?
Right. And how many people who used to laugh at preppers now have, like 300 rolls of toilet paper in their basement?
Oh my gosh.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
And I would encourage so many of these people who are.
Mhm.
I would encourage so many people who are buying these guns. Please go out and take some training courses.
Yes.
We've seen our CWP and our training courses, explode. And I would encourage the people who are watching your show, Hank, to go out before you shoot that gun. Get a little bit of training on how to use it, how to clean it,
Mhm.
proper handling of firearms to keep you, yourself, and your friends safe.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Amen.
Yeah, absolutely. I would concur with that. I know. So there's, because there are all these people that we were talking about before, right? There's all these new people. Roy was saying that you guys have made videos. You're all saying that you're seeing a lot of people calling in. I'm assuming that all these new people are asking stuff. Like the other day, I had someone literally called me up and told me they bought an AR-15 and they wanted to know how to make it full auto. And I was like, yeah, you actually...
Auto BCG, right?
Yeah. First of all, I thought it was the feds trying to, try to catfish me. And I was like, listen, you can't do that except under certain circumstances, which I'm pretty sure if you're asking me about it, you're not in that position. It's not a thing that you should do. And I asked him, I was like, why do you want to make it full auto? And he said, well, because I want it to be more accurate. And I'm not trying to make fun of that guy. Literally, this is what we're dealing with, right? There's people who are going from what they saw on the news and
Right.
what they've seen in movies, and they don't
Right.
know any better. So all of us who are gun guys, this is probably the place where we need to chip in and try to help people.
Right. Right.
Try to help people to understand. Go ahead, Roy.
No, I've just seen on various websites, and
Mhm.
I'm seeing two schools of thought. One of which I understand, but I don't think it's very helpful, because there seems to be one group of gun guys who say, "Well, the heck with all these new gun owners. They're probably the same people who voted for the bans. They're probably the same people who voted for restrictions. The heck with them." And then other people are saying, "No. We need to help these people. We need to educate them, bring them in the fold, with the hope that they get it. The light bulb goes off, and they become more aware voters."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So let me see. I got a couple of things here. I'm gonna get to questions here in a second. Stores. Okay, so Roy, Brownells has has at least one store, right?
We've got a retail store
in Iowa.
yes.
Okay.
No, just one. Just only one location at the Brownells facility. Yep.
Right. Is that location open?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's open 7 days a week. We've got a little bit different hours because we were working with certain restrictions issued by the governor of Iowa regarding COVID-19.
Okay.
For example, there were restrictions on how many people you could have in a quote unquote public place or a business. So I mean, we've literally had to set up a system where we have people at the front door writing down how many folks have come into the store, and as people leave, we have a wait list basically to get in because of COVID-19 restrictions. But yeah, it's open 7 days a week.
Okay, and I'm getting some questions here. Lola's saying we're getting some questions. Did you guys have to take any precautions with everything going on around the country to secure your store? And then I'm gonna ask the PSA guys the same thing. Did you guys run into any issues like that at Brownells?
I'll say that there are we are very much aware of what's going on around the country. I won't be able to really talk about any details. I'll just say we're aware and we are taking steps.
Okay, all right. And so Chad or Josiah, same thing with you guys?
We had a little,
Yes, we're our stores are protected. So the last thing you want is the guns out all across. That people shouldn't have them. So our stores are protected.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead, Chad.
Yeah, we had a little. We've had a couple instances where we had to kind of hunker down and stay in place and make sure we were. it really wasn't for the protection of the property as much as it's you don't want those firearms in the hands of people who don't need to have them. So yeah, I would not break into a PSA store.
Right. Yeah. I wouldn't.
I'm just being. Right. I'm being really.
I wouldn't suggest anyone to do it because these are gun guys.
Right.
Yeah, and at the same time, we don't want. No one wants these things getting into the hands of people that they shouldn't be in their hands. Specifically, people that want to get out there and cause destruction and violence. And try to push the country in the wrong direction. Even though we're gun guys, that's not what we want. That's not what that's not what we're trying to do here. Let me just get to this question. We'll get to questions for people now. If everyone out there, the range has asked this a couple of times. He gave us $5 here. He says, Chad, an update on the Dagger. Also, PMags not seating in my Gen 3 PA10. Is there a fix? Thanks, PSA, Brownells, Hank. So, yeah, Chad. Let's see. Update on the Dagger. We've put some videos out, and we have videos still coming out on this. But I guarantee you, people still want to know about the Dagger. They're excited about that. And then he also has issues here with the Gen 3 PA10, I guess, and PMAG seating.
The Dagger, the last release was we were going to have it. I think it was July. When Dusty was on. We're kind of waiting. I was given a pre-production model to try to break. I've got a review channel called Carolina Arms Review on Facebook, and I'm kind of documenting some of the things that I found with it. There was some changes that we started making after I put my paws on it, so to speak. Nothing major, nothing that's going to delay it, but if I can get through it and they can get through it, they're testing from an engineering standpoint. They're testing a longevity situation. They're going 10, 15, 20,000 rounds and kind of documenting where things start to fail. What I'm doing is I'm taking mine through 2,000, and then we're going to start using aftermarket parts and make sure there's compatibility with other accessories out there and that kind of thing. And I'm kind of going through documenting it. So, I mean, we're still in for a July release. I haven't heard anything that's going to stop it, but we are still kind of tweaking some things that could have been a little bit better that we saw from a release standpoint. So I'm pretty happy with it. When I first, to be honest with you, with that Dagger, when I first heard about it, I'm not a Glock type guy, that whole pistol fanboy type thing. Most of my comp guns are STI 2011s and double stack.
I was gonna say, you must be a 19 guy. You probably got your hand got maimed by 1911s at a young age.
Yeah. I started out. I shot single stack Kimbers for years, and then I transferred over to 2011s. Because you got 170 millimeter magazines open, it's bigger. Double stack, 25 rounds. Anyway.
Yeah.
I was kind of like, man, we'll see. And then the more I played with it, the way the grip angle changed, the way the slide relief cuts were made, he did a good job. I know a lot of people's got questions about the trigger and whatnot, which I'm going to go through. We actually, when I first got the test production model, I wasn't too overly enthusiastic about the trigger pull or the length of pull and the trigger pull itself, the weight. And we've got that down now pretty good. So, I mean, it's actually a really viable, true contender in that whole competition / self-defense EDC type market. We just want to make sure it's okay. Nobody wants to live through another Mac gate with the AKV thing. Nobody wants to have another Gen 1 AK. Jamin's fortunately given us the time, the energy, the resources, the money, everything to make it right. So I still see a July time frame. I don't see anything major happening that's going to delay that. But if there is, we keep, if you go on the Palmetto State Armory Handgun Owners Association Facebook group, we keep everybody up to date almost in real time. So any of your listeners out there, if they want to join that group and kind of be a part of that, we let people know steps along the way. It's kind of cool because we're interacting directly with the consumer as we're rolling this thing out. And for the majority of people, you got a small group of people that just want it, take my money, I want the gun now. And the other guys are like, oh, this is kind of cool, you're letting us know, just make it right. When I spend my $300, $400, I just want to be able to have a good gun that doesn't spend 6 weeks in warranty work. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, and it's a whole new system from my understanding.
It is.
Yeah.
It's all, everything's made, not really in-house. Some of it's made in-house, but the majority of it's made to our specs and things that we wanted to have changed and that kind of thing. So, you know, we're doing everything we can to make sure that platform, when it rolls, is as good as it can be the day that you get it and pull it out of that box.
Okay, cool. And then
now, the PA-10, just tell him to hook up with Josiah, and we'll get it either sent back or replaced. That's not a big deal. I would, if I had anything to guess, it's probably the mag release. We had some shallow cut mag releases at one point that got out. We've switched most of them, but if he's having an issue like that, he can reach out to Josiah.
Okay.
And we can get that. We can get that squared away.
Email. Yeah, just shoot me an email, Josiah, JOSIAH at palmettostatearmory.com. I'll get you taken care of.
Yeah. There you go. Let's see.
So that's an easy one.
Yeah. Let's see if we can get through some other questions here. If you guys have questions for Brownells or PSA, let me know. We'll get into it. I see people asking about the meme lowers. So yeah. Let's see. What is this? Dan Hates You says, I want a COVID-15 lower. Is it too soon?
That's been brought up quite a bit. I do a lot of the meme lowers. The next one that's going to come out is the Bear Arms. It's a bear holding up an AR-15, and it's got some cool selectors. But we've had to back off the AR-15 lower receivers. If you'll notice right now, all of them are off the website completely because we're having to crank out as many orders as we possibly can. And when you've got 20 different meme lowers that are clogging up that supply chain, not supply chain, but getting the orders out, we've pulled those off the website. We'll wait until we get the about half of them out, and then we'll put more lowers in stock. So, but as far as a COVID lower, that one is, in my opinion, I put this out here on different platforms. My opinion on COVID is there's people dying over it. There's people who are truly suffering. I would not want to put out a COVID lower because there's people that I know, friends, family, that have been in the hospital on respirators because of this. I wouldn't put out a COVID lower. I'm not a politically correct person, but I am sensitive towards legit. I can reason a little bit, and I think that COVID's not a great idea.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, Josiah, you're so logical.
I was completely against it. Josiah and I regularly have arguments about those meme lowers.
Yeah, I could imagine. I'm sure you got some ideas. Someone says they want to see a Karen lower.
I want a Karen lower.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there a Carol Baskin lower?
Carol Baskin. Oh my Lord. Yeah. Tiger King. Yeah. Listen. I guarantee you there will be litigation.
Karen lower is in production. The variants came back for it. It's called the OK Karen 15. The serial number is Bobcut, and the selectors are speak to a manager, speak to a supervisor is safe, fire speak to a manager, full auto speak to a CEO. Once we have the ability, we're going to put that one in production.
Oh wait, you're serious? Okay, all right.
Yeah, I'm dead serious. I submitted a variance for an OK Karen 15.
Wow.
Well, that one's not on the Canadian ban list yet, right?
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Let's see. There's a whole bunch of different things going on in here. People are saying what they want. Let's see. Pitchlock says, "Why did PSA go for the MP5K first and not the classic MP5?"
We're shelve the PA5 questions.
Yeah. There you go. That's easy. Yeah, they're working on a bunch of stuff that's going to be coming out soon. So let's see. Then there's people here talking about the Jackal. Bricks wants to know when the AKE 12.5 inch and the crank is coming out.
12.5 is being built today.
Uh-oh.
There's a 12.5 GF3 coming today. We were just building them. The AKEs, we got another probably 2 or 3 weeks before. We had a couple parts and supply issues with them. So we just stopped doing them. We halted production for a bit. But the 12.5-inch GF3s that everybody was looking for, those actually were being built today and will release probably tomorrow.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. So there you go. There you got some direct questions. Chris Bullis says, what about Boogaloo lower with a pineapple?
Listen, I'm a big Boog guy. I'm actually doing some Hawaiian shirts as we speak.
Yeah.
But I would like to do it. That's been a on and off topic for quite a little bit too.
Yeah, I mean, you guys know that the ATF is coming down on Boogaloo stuff, right? You know that?
Yeah, I've heard.
Yeah, they've put out warnings. I made a video talking about it, and YouTube shut that down. You know, the video's still there, but they were like, "Yeah, we're basically gonna suppress this video."
Yeah, those guys need to stay off of Reddit. That's where that whole, Reddit's came out with some things the last probably 2 or 3 years that were just absolutely meme tier BS.
Mm-hmm.
And mainstream media picked up on it and ran wild with it. That whole Boog lifestyle deal it is not what they're saying it is.
Yeah. Well, it seems like it's easier for them to go after Boogaloo people instead of figuring out what's going on with the militant side of Antifa.
Yeah, I was told the other day in a group that Antifa was a figment of my imagination. They had no leader, and the only person that recognized them as an organization was Donald Trump. And I was like,
okay, what planet is that person on?
I got some accounts in some groups on Facebook that I just kind of watch with, and those guys mean business. They're pretty. They're not joking. So yeah, it's so quick to make fun and put somebody that wears a Hawaiian shirt and an AR-15 as a joke, which it was really. It's so easy to put those guys and hang them out to dry, but we got guys running around in, sickle masks and black suits, destroying property. We're in a banana republic at this point, I think.
Yeah, it's a weird situation going on. Roy, here's the thing for Brownells. Does Brownells make a California compliant retro rifle?
Yes. You'll check our website.
Okay.
Now, several models. Let's see here. I'm going to the website right now.
California compliant. Yeah, let's see if it's available.
CA compliant. Yeah, get on there and search for retro CA compliant. Now, we don't have a whole bunch of them, and they're pretty much as requested, but that is an option available. Now, the problem is going to be a lot of our models of retro rifles are out of stock just because of all the other issues we were talking about. There are a few that are still in stock, but yeah, if you get on the website and look for CA compliant, you'll see those.
Yeah. So California is a good subject for us to talk about. I'm sure we have quite a few people coming in here from California. We kind of had almost a Freedom Week thing going, and then it got canceled pretty quick.
Like 36 hours, right?
Yeah. Roy, did you guys actually get stuff sent out to California during that time or no?
It's my understanding that yes, there were, but I mean, you're talking like it was a 36-hour window, so it wasn't that much. Okay,
so people who were able to get their orders in were actually able to get stuff during that time. Okay, what about at PSA? Did you guys have an opportunity there to get things out to California, or?
Yeah, it wasn't as big as we would have thought.
Okay.
The short window, we would have thought it would have produced a lot more orders, but I think people were so scared after the Cali Mag drop experience that they just kind of backed off.
Yeah, and then the courts overturned that so quick that I think people didn't even really get a chance to,
6 days, right? I mean, it was
with this last thing, didn't it happen? It happened in a real quick, like 24 hours.
Oh yeah,
it was a matter of hours, and we didn't even see once we announced, like on Facebook and on different forums, that we were going to ship to California. We didn't see that much of an uptick anyway. The people who were trying to stock up had already stocked up, so it was just those of us who have X thousands of rounds were like, yeah, I'll buy an extra 1,000 rounds just for fun. Yeah, it was those type of people who were buying. None of the hoarders already had their stuff, so we didn't see a giant uptick.
Okay.
And Hank, just on your previous question, I'm looking at our website right now. We show in stock California compliant BRN 10s in 308 and California compliant BRN Protos, the original style AR-15 with the trigger style charging handle on the top, and the rest of them are currently out of stock. But we
Okay.
do have within stock.
Out of stock. Okay, well, how about, do you guys have any idea, PSA, what kind of California compliant things you have in stock? Or do you have a lot of California compliant SKUs in the first place?
We do have on our AK specifically. That's our most requested California compliant model. If you look in our AK catalog, there's nothing in stock at the moment. We're trying to get out as much as we can, but we do on a regular basis have California compliant GF3 AKs, and we'll be putting AKEs, GF4s, AK103s. We'll be doing batches of those as they're coming out. And I know a common question too, Hank, that people are going to have is, with the new releases, what we thought we would be able to release at SHOT, COVID and these things have put them off a little bit. So, folks, please be patient with us as we're getting out the GF4s, AK103s, AK74s. Some of our suppliers have had issues. So we're, yes, we have California compliant versions planned for a lot of stuff. But please be patient with us too as things get pushed back a little bit from the original timeframes that we wanted at SHOT Show for release on new products.
Yeah, we actually have a 16-inch AKV coming out that's going to be California compliant.
Okay.
To get those out there to those guys, we've already ordered the grips and that kind of thing. So, I mean, we'll do as much Cali compliant stuff as we can. But I mean, you'd think that stuff would sell a lot better, but I think the people out there are so scared that at any point in time that whatever laws they have is going to be even worse. I think people shy away from it a little bit. We did some Cali compliant AKs, and our normal AK volume, we sell, a couple hundred a day. Those lasted for several days. We did a small batch of them, and they, just wasn't a huge seller, which is, I think that's kind of sad. They've almost admitted defeat in that state to a certain degree.
I've talked to a friend of mine out in California, and he, I was talking to him about our, the California compliant GF3, and he said he's not going to buy one because he said, what if overnight a law passes and I become a felon? What am I going to do? I'm out $800. So
yeah, that's a crazy thing. What do you guys think about this news that's coming out about the ATF going after the SIG braces? I'm sure you both, Brownells and PSA, sell a lot of braces and a lot of firearms with braces on them.
I don't have access to the daily sales numbers. I know we're all aware of the letter that the congressman wrote to the ATF telling them to knock off their secret plans, and that's the great mystery, at least for me, is we don't know what their secret plans were. I mean, I assume that they were going to try something. I mean, just because we've seen it so many times. But I there's a lot of uncertainty around that, and it's and I've seen a lot of websites write about that. I'm sure there probably was an uptick of the braces, but I don't have access to those daily numbers, so I can't say.
Yeah.
We didn't really see an uptick in those numbers. We just saw, just your average sales and whatnot. That's the pistols sell better than anything else that we have.
Okay.
And that's the thing I wonder about. I mean, it's one thing whenever they did their thing on bump stocks, okay? Because nationwide, was the number I've read 500,000 total something? How many? I mean, it's got to be in the millions of various types of pistols equipped with braces. I mean, everything from AR-15s to AK patterns, and even Ruger 1022 Chargers with braces. I mean, there's so many. There's even bolt action pistols with braces, right? There's so many guns with braces. I mean, if they did that, that would affect so many people and cause such an uproar. I just can't imagine what they would be thinking in a situation like that.
I don't know. I wonder if they care. This just seems to be this. They're pushing one thing. I think the fact that I would argue there's probably more than 500,000 of the bump stocks out there. Probably more than that. And there's probably still a lot of them out there.
There's probably like 450,000 still out there.
Yeah, well, a lot of people don't realize that all of a sudden something that was just, a piece of polymer, in some cases, in some cases those were made out of aluminum, but I know there was some really special ones out there or whatever, but I think a lot of people don't realize that that's a thing even. This is one of the things about the laws, that these laws are going into effect, and a lot of people don't even realize that that ever happened. Just illustrated by someone asking me hey, how can I make this thing go full auto? I don't think they even understand what's going on. If they can't parse between a bump stock not being full auto, right? How do they, even see the stuff with the braces?
I'd like to know what they were working on. I mean, I guess there was some behind the scenes action going on that we weren't aware of.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, I don't think anybody was really aware of it. And
there's been rumors. There's been rumors for a little while.
They hate those things. I mean, it's when they stopped doing the individual classifications a while back. But I'd like to know what they were trying to go after. Exactly what was the issue that they were trying to address. But we may never know. It looks like right now, at least, they're saying that they're not doing anything immediately. So
yeah,
it's concerning.
Hopefully it's like the M855 thing where they're think about it for a while and then just forget about it because there's so much backlash over it.
Yeah,
hopefully we'll see.
This has to be a nightmare for companies, right? Just trying to deal with all this regulation and what's in effect here, what's in effect there.
Yeah, it is. I mean, from especially the state level, our compliance database is just ridiculous. The things that our shippers have to do, what magazine can go where, what can do this, can this go there, can that go? It's absolutely absurd. It's almost like there's some states you don't even want to deal with, which we have done that. Just because we can't keep at like even a city level.
Yeah,
there's city legislation on some of this stuff.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. I know, I'm doing my t-shirts and stuff like that. Just a quick plug here. That's why I've got this. This is a Gun Nerd shirt that I'm doing on Ballistic Ink, and one of them I did is a lead warning shirt, but I don't think anyone gets it.
Oh, the lead warning?
Yeah, you know how you have to do the lead warning, So,
oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was like, I'll make a lead warning shirt because, I mean, we're gun guys. If you mess with us, you should probably get a lead warning before that. But I don't. Lola was like, you know what? Sometimes I think you're thinking way above. Everyone doesn't realize that that's actually. I think there are I think the gun guys who are watching the news all the time realize it, but the general population is just really not even aware of this.
Right, and this is something I hope changes with lots of new gun owners. One of the things that me personally that just frustrates the fire out of me is how many even so-called gun people say, well, I'm not going to pay attention to the politics. I'm not going to keep up with that crap. I don't care what they're doing in the legislature. It doesn't apply to me. Well, yeah, it does. Yeah, it does, because you can become an instant felon overnight and not even know it.
Yep.
And then you wake up, what, you mean this is illegal? I mean, okay, I'm not going to name any names, but I've twice had to explain to guys who were military veterans that no, the end of the 1994 assault weapons ban didn't mean you could go to Walmart and buy a machine gun, Skippy. And these dudes were both military veterans, and they thought the end of the 1994 assault weapon ban in 2004 meant they could go buy a machine gun. And I was just going, I couldn't believe it. It just blew my mind that I have to explain this to you? Really? I really have to explain this? Okay.
Most people aren't paying attention.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. Most people are just not paying attention. It's we think so because we're just dyed-in-the-wool gun guys.
Because we live and breathe this stuff all the time.
Yeah.
We keep up with it.
Yeah.
But if you have conversation with your average, I'm always usually surrounded by gun guys, but even some of your guys that shoot matches and stuff, they don't understand the rules. I've started digging into this whole Form 1 suppressor thing, primarily because I'm spastic and I can't wait a year for a suppressor. But there's people that didn't even know that was a thing. I mean, there's all these different nuances of the industry that people just, your average guy don't know.
Yeah, they're just.
And that doesn't exclude military and law enforcement. I mean, they don't. A lot of times they don't know. So I mean, that's kind of our job to educate them.
Yeah.
But like you said, sometimes it's surprising because you'd think that people would know a little bit more in certain roles or different, careers or whatnot, but that's not always the case.
Not always the case, and it's I just have tried to remember to stay positive and helpful and friendly, and not scream and tear my hair out and rend my clothing like in the Old Testament and throw ashes on my head and cry out to the heavens. But sometimes it just blows my mind that what people don't know or what they think they know that's wrong.
Yeah, we have to balance it, right? You don't want to be that guy that chews someone who's new or really not super into guns yet. You don't want to chew off their head because they say clip instead of magazine.
No, don't want to do that.
You don't want to be that person. So you want to figure out a way, like, how can I help them, and at the same time point them in a direction where they could get better educated, and somehow, this is, I think, ultimately, even though it's a dysfunctional community like a lot of other communities out there, it still is a community. And we have to somehow welcome people into it, especially the new people, like we were saying before, and help them to understand. The number one thing they need to understand is if they don't support the Second Amendment in America, they won't have these things, or they will wind up being felons.
Right.
I mean, that's basically the direction that these gun control bills are going into. Let me see. Okay, so I got a quick question here. Caleb Street says here's one for Brownells. What would Stoner do lowers releasing? So I guess he wants to know when those lowers are releasing. Right. What would Stoner do?
Of course, those were held up. Those were held up like lots of other things with the whole COVID-19 shutdown situation. Okay. In fact, I had a little chat about those today. We're still looking at those late July-ish. So coming up end of summer, hopefully.
Okay, all right, good. There you go. Hopefully that answers. Night Train says, right before they outlawed bump stocks, I was at a local gun show, and this dealer wanted to sell me one for $700. I said, no thanks. I saw those things selling for like $1,200 on what is it? What's the Gun Broker? Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Have you ever played with one of those?
They typically don't work for me.
They don't. I'm faster with a finger.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I can ride the reset of pretty much any gun faster than I could do that. And that's the thing. Like, I don't think I have any videos on those out there, but mostly because I could just never. It was just very counterintuitive. But the thing is, I really support their right to exist.
Yeah.
And I'm really worried about the fact, like, the precedents that will set. Because, the ATF and basically an executive order from Trump allowed these pieces of plastic to become machine guns.
Right. When that's not the definition of machine gun in the NFA at all.
Yeah.
The physics and in reality and logic don't matter.
No.
Right? Physics, all that stuff, who needs that stuff? Yeah, but it's a machine gun. Piece of plastic, it's a machine gun.
Yeah, if you're allowed to get away with that, you could do anything. And then I'm worried, and I know we're kind of drifting into politics a little bit here with you guys, but I'm worried by what's happening lately with the Supreme Court refusing to take up 2A cases. You guys have any comments on this before we go back to the questions here from folks?
It doesn't surprise me. I mean,
just really frustrating.
Yeah. Lots of faces of disgust. For anyone listening on the audio, there's very disgusted faces here.
Yeah,
that's what I'm seeing from these guys.
It's not. Doesn't surprise me at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I wasn't surprised by it either. I think, and I think this is why people need to get out there and make sure they vote. There's lots of things. I don't think voting just has to do about who's president. We really need the Supreme Court to have more conservative judges on it, I believe. More judges that believe in the Second Amendment, believe in the Constitution.
The minute that power shifts, we will lose every right to defend ourselves that we've ever fought for. Yeah. If liberal judges take seats, the liberal judges will attack the Second Amendment, whereas the judges now are just kind of being complacent. It's kind of a weird situation. Politics in this country, I could go on. This is where Logan would be in the background.
Yes.
I kept seeing somebody. the
Yeah.
Gun Talk TV was trying to drag into politics, and she was going, "No, don't get Chad on politics." But
I think. Look, I think that we need to look at the Second Amendment not so much as politics as the Constitution.
it is, but it's
right.
Yeah.
it's become one of either or party, right?
Mm-hmm.
The shining hope that we see are that new customers who are either moderate
Mm-hmm.
or kind of liberal or more progressive minded are buying guns.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully that kind of shifts a mindset.
Mm-hmm.
But up until COVID, it was very R versus D.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Now you got people in the middle. It's not, I don't want to say every Democrat hates guns or every Republican's for guns. That's not what I'm saying, but it was very one, me versus you kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way people felt about it.
Yeah.
You don't want it to be about politics, but unfortunately, everything now is based off of a two-party system, which I think is kind of a sad state of affairs, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, people just need to realize, like, the Second Amendment and gun ownership is about responsibility.
Yeah.
And responsibility starting with you. So first of all, you're responsible for defending yourself first before anyone, right? Before you call the police or whatever, you're responsible for defending yourself and your family, the people that you love, etc. You're responsible to make sure that you know how to use these things safely. You're responsible for teaching your children how to be safe around guns. We're having the reverse in America. It's like, let's just pretend these don't exist. Let's try to wave a magic wand and think that it will go away. And I equate it to like swimming pools. Swimming pools can be very deadly for our kids, for example. And the thing that we have to do, we can abolish swimming pools. That's not going to stop bodies of water and all that kind of stuff. Or we could teach our kids about safety around swimming pools and how to swim.
Right.
Yep.
And I think, along with responsibility, it's not really the flip side, but I think maybe I'm trying to figure out what the heck I'm trying to say here, but along with responsibility, it's also absolutely about individual empowerment. So yes, it's your responsibility to take care of yourself, but then you are once you have knowledge and skills and correct tools, you are empowered to take care of yourself. You're empowered to protect yourself and your loved ones and where you live. I mean, that's I really do think that once people figure that out and have that aha moment, oh, this is not just some political thing, and this isn't just some scary thing. Oh my gosh, I can actually do this.
Yeah.
I can take these steps. I can affect an outcome. I can change a situation to be better for me and my family and the people I care about and the people I live with. And that's one of the things in a previous life I even worked on a lot whenever I was still teaching, Composition 1 classes to lots of bored, inattentive 18-year-olds. But I'll get into that later. But the idea that if you can write, if you can take your ideas and communicate them to other people to the point that you can get them to change their mind a little bit or feel differently, dude, that's scary power. That's insane, crazy, wacko power. And I think the more people who get into, and as you're saying earlier, get a little training, get a little knowledge, buy a gun, and start figuring this out, and hopefully have that aha moment when the proverbial light bulb comes on. From responsibility, yes, absolutely responsibility. Amen, hallelujah. Next step up, realizing you've been empowered, that you do have power as an individual.
Yes, guns are a gateway drug to freedom.
Right. Yeah. That's a great way to put it.
I'll tell you, what's scary is the some of the people that was 6 months ago telling you, you don't need guns, you have the police. The police come handle it. They're the same ones that are calling for defunding of the police.
Right.
It's careful. You kind of got to figure out where the agenda is. And Jamin said something the other day, and it didn't dawn on me until about 10 minutes after he left, because we was having a conversation about 4 or 5. We're like squirrels, right? We're all over the place. And he said, we're at a war with thought. Think about that. The way you think sometimes now in this new environment, if you don't think like somebody wants you to think, you're evil or bad or you're
you're
this or
processing. You're processing of what's happening, what's going on. Yeah.
Your thoughts now are under like question. Everything doing it. It's almost like that movie 1984. You know, we're listening, we're watching, we're seeing. Your thoughts are now under criminal investigation, and you really can't have a say in civil discourse. If you disagree with somebody, it's wrong now.
Right.
The debate has flown out the window.
Yeah. I think I you know, and somehow we're slipping into it here. I think if you look at what was happening in Hong Kong, right, before we got into this COVID thing, and they were like, hey, we want the Second Amendment like those guys have in America. You know, and you've got to realize here that this is a really, really important thing. And I really do think it goes beyond politics. I'm not trying to change anyone's politics and their beliefs and a lot of things that they want to do. I'm just trying to say that you are the person who has to defend you first. Right. You know, just like you're saying, if there's... Huh? Go ahead.
I said you are your own first responder because you're going to be the person there whenever the thing happens, right?
Yes, and you're the one that wants to do something about it. And as Chad is saying, realize that some people are saying, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take all these things away, and we're going to use the police to do this. And then over here, they're like, yeah, we don't need the police. You know?
Right.
So... You've got, like, where are they really going? And I think where they're going in a direction of confusion, because they know there's no way. It's like it's like so many things. They are not going to give up their own protection and their own protection details that they have out there. Why should you? It's a lot like healthcare, right? You know, if the people making the decisions for us have super awesome healthcare, and then the rest of us all have to go into one big thing and suffer it out in there, you got to worry about those people.
Have you ever seen Mike Bloomberg's security detail? He is the number one biggest anti-Second Amendment person we have on this planet at the moment. He has a security detail that rivals Trump's.
I believe it. I believe it.
A man is sitting on a stage telling you that you can't own a firearm because you're too young or you're not smart enough or you're not capable or whatever. And he has a security detail that rivals the President of the United States 24 hours a day.
Right.
Yeah. That's one to grow on.
He takes all of our guns and he abolishes the Second Amendment. Does he throw away his security detail?
No, they won't. It won't happen. It won't happen. Okay, listen. So let's go. Let's see. I'm going to try to go back to the different questions and things like that people have here while we have you guys.
See why Logan would be doing this?
No, listen. If the folks want to talk about this stuff, I'm happy to do it. We do it here all the time. I'm trying to take advantage of having all this awesome brain power.
Where? Oh.
Josiah. I mean, definitely Josiah. Okay, so Razor JB, and I think that he probably knows a little bit about this. Razor JB's spent a lot of time here supporting us. He says the secret talk, he's talking about the ATF, the secret talk is all about the shouldering again.
Oh, man.
Trying to come out with a way for braces to be only legal for those with disabilities and others illegal, or SBR. I've heard other things too. But he says, but shouldering is the main thing to take away from the majority. Yeah. I guess they don't want to let go of that. It's interesting. I don't know, man. I'm kind of like the ATF. I think this is one of the places that should be defunded. I saw some people saying defund the ATF. I agree. I agree with that wholeheartedly.
We should start a protest march or something.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be allowed to make decisions like it should have to go through the courts or through the. I mean, you know, if you want to ban bump stocks, if you want to ban green tip ammo, if you want to ban braces, it needs to go through the legislative process. It's just they shouldn't have that right to be able to make a decision and it become law. It's ridiculous.
I read an article today about a court case. This was on, I think, thetruthaboutguns.com, about a guy being arrested over the ATF rule of a 3.75 minimum length of pull. It's either 3.75 or 3.25. And one of the reasons the guy won the case is because, the ATF's, that's our new regulation. No, we didn't publicize it.
Huh. Yeah.
So they arrested the guy for not complying with a regulation they alleged
that they never published.
Nobody knew about except them. And then it turned out if you read the article, they measured the stock at the wrong angle. They didn't measure it straight. They measured it like this. And when they measured it correctly, he was in compliance actually. So, yeah.
Wow.
There's our tax dollars going to waste.
Yeah. Defund the ATF. That's what I can say. That's what I can say about that. Might need to reset that. If you're looking for something to reset, you might want to do that. So just think about that. Let's see. Okay, I know Lola wrote this here on the board. She said, are there states that you don't ship to, ammo, etc.? Often folks complain that they can't get certain items shipped to their state. Whoever wants to take this up first. I'm going to assume that, yes, there's states you don't ship to.
There's areas we don't ship to. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll give you one specific. There's a lot of folks from Connecticut where we won't ship any AR parts, accessories, and whatnot. If you actually look up the law in Connecticut, and people get frustrated at us and I get this probably about 2 or 3 times a week. Why won't PSA ship part to Connecticut? AR, AK, whatever it is. Well, if you actually look in their assault weapons ban, it says that any parts that can readily be available and in a certain proximity that can be assembled relatively. It's all these weird relative terms that can be made into an assault weapon eventually. Those parts are considered an assault weapon. Okay. So if you actually
pre-crime
the assault, and that's why we don't ship to Connecticut. Wow. And if people actually take the time to read it, they'll realize why we don't ship parts to Connecticut.
Wow. Okay.
At Brownells, we have a dedicated team of compliance folks, and this is their entire job, is to keep up with all the laws and restrictions and regulations. I don't think there are any states we necessarily won't ship anything to, but like Josiah was saying, I mean, our compliance team, that's their full-time job, is keeping up with what are the state laws in the various states, what products of ours fall under that, what products of ours don't fall under that. And some states are they're just more difficult to ship stuff to just because of some of the laws they have on the books. Absolutely.
Have you guys ever gotten into any legal situations over this? I'm not sure whether or not you could talk about it, but the thought just popped in my brain. Have states ever tried to sue either one of you folks or the companies? Not the individuals, but the companies over shipping something there?
I was personally named in the Cali Mag Drop loss when the stay came. I don't know if you ever read the documentation, but we thought we were going to have to go to court with that. But I mean, we were legally allowed to ship. So we get subpoenas and stuff from people and whatnot from time to time, but nothing. I mean, no criminal type behavior. Josiah may be able. I've only been here for a couple of years from a historical standpoint. Josiah may be able to elaborate, but I mean, the closest thing I think that we got into potentially having to go to a hearing was the California mag stay situation.
Okay.
Josiah, can you remember any?
No, I mean, that's probably the closest that we've ever gotten to anything. I honestly don't remember anything closer than that before that. No, not at all. Okay. Not even remotely close.
Yeah. Roy?
Right. Well, that's something that would be handled by our legal folks and not something I'd be able to comment on.
Right. Okay. I understand. Yeah. There's obviously things that, we don't want to necessarily get into right now. Maybe one day we'll get the legal people on. Not really. I don't know if the folks out there.
You're gonna have to pay them for us, Hank.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Billable hours, baby.
Yeah.
Billable hours.
What is that? Like $1,000 an hour?
Depends on how good the attorney is.
Yeah, that's just to say, hey, will you come on the show? Yeah. Can you imagine that show? Like the attorneys with their attorneys trying to figure out whether or not they could answer. Okay, listen, that's fair. That's fair. Len Holt says, what are ammo backlogs looking like at PSA and Brownells? Is that any of that clearing up for you guys, or still crazy?
It's really going to depend on the caliber. I mean, which cartridge you're talking about. I mean, if you're looking for 5.56 or standard 9mm, your wait's probably going to be longer. If you're, I mean, I was shopping for this too. I think we have like three different SKUs of 4570. I mean, if you're looking for some 4570, we got that in stock. Or one of my favorites, 9.3x62 Mauser, we got some of that. But it's really going to depend on what type of ammo you're looking for.
Okay.
He's right. We only had two. I think there's two 5.56 SKUs. I looked for some earlier today for an NRA class that we're going to help support, but I think we had new Frontier and Winchester was it.
Okay.
And it was the fairly low quantities of that. I think we had 700 cases of one and like 400 cases of the other. So, I mean, we're having to fight for ammo just like anybody else is, you know, for us to get from a supply standpoint. I mean, there's times we're even bidding on stuff with other companies. You know, we actually may be up against Brownells bidding on a truckload of 223. I mean,
that might be. I don't know. Yeah.
All the rebates, everything's gone. I mean, all that's everything. Any kind of special deals that we had, poof, they went away. And you're just buying straight off the street. So as we get it, that's, you know, Jamin started PSA on ammo. He was selling bullets out of his garage, basically. So that's kind of near and dear to his heart. Even though there's not a ton of profit in ammo, to be quite honest with you, it's kind of like the toilet paper at the grocery store. It's you got to have it, right? But there's not a lot of profit in it, unless now. Now there's profit in toilet paper and ammo. But
we're gonna get that thing with toilet paper. I'm thinking that you were talking about where people aren't gonna buy toilet paper for a long time.
That's right. It's gonna have. I mean, well, they got enough sitting at the house, but
yeah.
I mean, to answer his question, we just 223, 9mm, 45, 12 gauge, all those calibers that you'd think that you'd need for home protection. We're fighting just like they are.
Okay. You guys seeing that same thing, Roy?
Yep. Yeah. The popular cartridges are going. I mean, it comes in, it hits the shelf, it's live on the website. Poof. But I mean, if you're looking for something, you know, if you're looking for like your 264 Weatherby Magnum, I don't even know if we have 264 Weatherby Magnum. I'm just throwing out a caliber, a type of caliber that a cartridge that there's always been a lower demand, or like 7mm mag or something. Yeah, if you're looking for something like that, or a 338, we probably got some of that. But if you're looking for 5.56, your pickings are probably going to be pretty slim, just because everybody wants that.
Yeah. Captain Shark says time for PSA to build an ammo manufacturing facility. Yeah, I put that. By the time that facility gets up and running, who knows what we're going to be looking at.
Well, you know, I reload about 80 to 120,000 rounds a year personally.
Wow.
And I can't find small pistol primers. I can't get projectiles. Okay. My projectile guys, Everglades out of Florida, there's nothing. So, I mean, luckily I've got powder, I've got access to cases, but I don't know if owning aim, that's not the answer either, because you'd have to own the smelting company. You'd have to be able to get a steady supply of lead. And see, all those companies, which are smaller smaller companies than the firearms manufacturers are, there's not that many people that can process and smelt lead into projectiles. So to set that up and be kind of on your own would be, with today's compliance laws and everything, I don't know that we couldn't make it any cheaper than people that's been around since the 30s and 40s and 50s. And, you know, I don't know that that's the answer.
Yeah.
If I can't get projectiles, then, you know, you still can't make ammo.
Yeah, and all those other companies are also affected by the COVID lockdowns, et cetera. So it just compounds up the chain. I just remember back in the great 22 long rifle ammo scare, about 2014 or so, reading more than one article and I forget the exact number, but it was in the tens of millions of dollars it would cost, because people say, well, just make a new 22 long rifle ammo factory. And it would take years and cost tens of millions of dollars just to get the thing built and just to get the thing set up where to produce ammo. And then there's no guarantee, of course, that 22 long rifle bubble, thank goodness, went away. But yeah, by the time you got your plant built and conformed with all the regulations, I mean, you're going to be out tens of millions of dollars, and good luck making that back when you're making what, half a penny, a quarter a penny around, or whatever you make on 22.
Yeah, and
22 is highly volatile.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
It's like basically the components for the rimfire is a bomb for what it's worth. And a lot of the companies that are set up to build that stuff, the reason they don't really upgrade or do any kind of work is because they'd have to upgrade to the new standards. They're kind of grandfathered in, from what I'm being told. And to be able to upgrade their components, their equipment, their systems, they'd have to expend tons of money. It's just not worth it. So some of the machines that make rimfire, it's been around since the 50s. It's the same machines they've been running. They just keep them running because they don't want to have to conform to the new standards that they were pretty much grandfathered. So
yeah,
plus, I
Plus,
don't know. It'd be cool to do your own ammo, but I don't think that's how you get around this.
Plus, you're looking at the EPA laws around manufacturing ammo. That's got to be insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, the EPA stuff today, that's got to be prohibitive of that. I was going to ask about reloading. Are you guys seeing, with everything happening, are you seeing a lot of reloading stuff selling in the stores?
I'm a reload instructor. I've had maybe half a dozen people want to do classes. But as far as selling it, everything that we had, which was kind of a small amount, we don't do hazmat out of the website. We just never set our website up to do that, so we don't ship powders and primers. It's mostly storefront. The stuff that we had on the shelf was out, but we don't have like people knocking down the doors trying to get us to buy more stuff. I think reloaders panic when they see ammo guys panic. And unfortunately, I've got enough to get by this summer, but I didn't see this coming. And usually if I see this happening, I order 50, 60, 70,000 projectiles, and it kind of caught me off guard. So I don't think we're necessarily seeing an influx of new reloaders. What I think is happening is all the reloaders that are out there sucking up the supply so that they don't have to worry about competition later on,
Yeah. By the way, Chad, how many jobs do you have? Seriously, Josiah, I mean, you guys are working this guy real hard.
Well, I enjoy it. That's
what
that's
he gets paid for.
Yeah.
That's the shooting side of me. I mean,
Okay.
that's why I interact with the customers so well, is because I do the same stuff they do on the weekends. I mean, this isn't like me come to work and go home at 5 o'clock and never think about guns.
Right.
I come home and I'll help guys build their first gun, or we'll go shoot at the shooting range, or we'll go to the match, or I'll teach people how to reload, or I mean, that's the stuff I do that I've done for years. It's
right.
Yeah.
apart and away from PSA. That's my culture.
Yeah, that's what I've learned. Yeah, I think that's the thing here. Everyone's into guns, and some people I know Roy's into the big game hunting guns, and
that's my newest addiction. That's my newest addiction. Pretty much if it has a trigger and goes bang, power, boom, or even if I'm probably into it. So
right, yeah, the old school stuff. And then lately he's been into hunting down iguanas or something like that. I don't know.
Well, yeah, that's on my list, man. I need to go somewhere in South Florida and whack some iguanas. I've got recipes I need to try out. But,
he wants iguana soup, but
Oh yeah, Jamaican jerk iguana, fried iguana, barbecued iguana. I've got. Pollo de arbole, right? Chicken of the tree. I got some of that stuff out.
You guys don't have.
I grew up, chicken of the tree is squirrel, but. I want to be culturally diverse and expand my culinary horizon.
Yeah, you guys don't have iguanas in South Carolina, right?
Nah, man. I've never been that poor to eat one either.
Iguanas are vicious, man. They are vicious, dude. I think we're only really finding them below the equator or something like that. So close. I'm sorry, close to the equator.
Florida,
South Florida, close to the equator. I think that's the only place they could really. They don't like cold. So I know so for example in West Palm Beach and stuff like that, when it actually gets cold for a couple of days, they actually go into some kind of weird stasis, and then they start falling out, and then people. This is, I don't know why people do this, because I would just scoop all those things up and flush them or something like that, because they're really pretty vicious. I've dealt with them. But when they go into stasis, people try to wake them up, and they keep trying to tell people, don't wake these things up. They don't wake up peaceful.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, I think you can actually go in South Florida, you can actually go poach these things, man. It's open season.
Yeah.
On them, yeah. Let's see.
Like feral hogs, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Please kill all of them,
Coyotes.
please.
Coyotes, yep. Let's see what we got here. I'm trying to get to the other comments and questions that people have in here. Let's see. Let me go through. Someone said, a Kathleen Music Lover wants to know who makes primers. Are there a lot of people? Are there a lot of places making primers?
I don't know who actually makes them, but you got Winchester, CCI, Federal, S&B, Fiocchi.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably your top 5. Tula, Wolf.
Yep, Tula and Wolf, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't really think. Rio had some shotgun primers. They tried to get into center fire at one time. That didn't go over well, but I think they all, I don't know exactly who makes the cups, but each one of the major manufacturers has a primer offering, pretty much.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. Florida Gun says, been working from home since March, got my 2 Dillons set up and cranking out thousands of rounds during the past 2 months. What shortage? Everyone should reload.
Right.
It may come to that.
Until the projectiles run out, then you're right back where you started.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Let's see here if we got any other questions. I know Lola says, what is Roy's hunting rifle setup? And then if you guys have hunting rifles, we can get that question.
Okay.
You got a hunting rifle going, Roy? We can't show it. We can't show it. YouTube rules.
I can't show it. It's over there at the safe about 15 feet away.
Yeah.
And that depends. What am I hunting?
Oh, okay. If you were hunting iguanas, I'm gonna assume that's like with a 22 or something like that.
Right. I'm going to use I've built a few of the BRN 22 receivers into rifles, and I'm going to have them with a threaded muzzle and a suppressor. You're talking about Form 1. I Form 1 one of those. I got my hands on one of those solvent traps a few years ago. I stuck it in the back of the safe until I saved up. I had to wait for Iowa to change its state law so us lowly civilian peasants could actually own suppressors. And like the first week those suckers were legal, I bought 2 and formed 1 a third. So I put the suppressor that's got my name on it on a 22, and we'd go iguana whacking. Heck yeah.
Yeah, there you go. And then what would your setup be if you're hunting something bigger? What do you typically hunt, man? What kind of what's your meat that you guys?
In Iowa, and I'm an old Arkansas boy, so I'm originally from the South. Mm-hmm. And one of the things I do enjoy about Iowa is they've got a real bad white-tailed deer problem here in Iowa. Okay. And white-tailed deer in Iowa, the entire state is nothing but one big food plot. It's literally hundreds of square miles of corn. So the first deer I ever killed up here was a doe, and she weighed about 195 pounds. Yeah. So if you put antlers on her and put her in Arkansas, she's like the deer of a lifetime in Arkansas. In Iowa, she's just a good-sized doe. Okay. So I hunt deer every year I can, and I hunt early muzzleloader season for a variety of reasons. But my deer rifle is a modern replica of an 1853 Enfield rifle musket.
Wow.
My deer rifle.
Okay. Cool.
Yep.
Cool. Let's see, Chad. Do you have a hunting rifle set up?
Oh man, God, I've got. I don't get this much shooting on the weekend, but my deer rifle, my main deer rifle was a Remington 700 7mm mag. It was a field grade gun that I got actually my wife bought it years ago for me at a pawn shop, and then here recently I gotten real big into coyote hunting because we've got a huge coyote problem, and nobody around us shoots coyotes, and it's perfect for me because it's in the night and you can go between 7 and 11 and be home, blah blah blah. So I'm shooting I was gifted from my good friend Derek that was the previous owner of Leadstar. I've got a original Leadstar grunt that's in a camo pattern, and he did one for me and one for him. And I'm using a bog pod, the claw tripod setup with a Thor 4 HD.
Okay.
But I tell you, the thing that I've gotten the most into recently is kind of like his, old school gun, the big bore caliber, PRS.
Oh yeah.
We're starting to shoot some DMR matches. Matter of fact, Hank, you met Mike Sexton, the big Marine loud guy. He's drug kicking and screaming in the DMR matches. So I've got a set. I'm gonna send you one to test. I need to get with Josiah. We've got a PSA custom billet receiver set, match grade billet receiver set, and I built that gun to do DMR matches, and unfortunately the last two's got canceled because of COVID. But that's been kind of like my pride and joy right now. I guess hunting steel.
Right.
Doing it, but it's a MOA gun, 20-inch.
How far out is that shooting?
DMR is usually within 750 yards. You're averaging between 300 and 600, and then if you do any PRS, it's usually between 600 and 1,000.
Okay.
But we got into long range a while ago. That's why we did.
Yes. Where is my? Hold on a second. Wait, did we lose? I think we just lost Josiah. Yeah. Okay, so I got to do a little bit of bragging. Roy, check this out. This is me shooting from a mile with the PSA guys.
Heck yeah.
Here's my coins right here.
Oh yeah. Okay, what did you hit at a mile with?
It was a 6.5. Basically, I think one of your standard 6.5s that you guys had at PSA, right?
It was a PA 65. 20-inch standard off the shelf gun. We started that in Wyoming at the at High Bar Homestead. We started a mile, and I got really into it. Came back, talked to my friend Mike, who he met, and walked him through his mile. But really got into long distance shooting. It's fun. I like the math side of it, the ballistics of it. And this new one, my new steel hunting gun, man, I've got a lot of personal time and love and money invested in that gun, and she's a tack driver. We proofed her out to 800 yards. It's actually got one of my scopes on it, the 624x50 that we released last year. I've got a 525x50 coming out that's first focal. So we've been doing a lot of testing with it and really getting out there. And once I proofed it out to 800, we came back and did a 300-yard, accuracy test, and we were about 1.78 to 218 MOA for that gun. So it's just as soon as I can get out there and do it, I'm gonna run it. I'll probably get my teeth kicked in, but some of those guys have been doing that for a long time, so I'm definitely behind the curve, but I'm gonna give them all I can.
Yeah, just easier way into there. I find like long distance shooting is it helps you unwind.
Yeah. And the High Bar Range, is that up near Gillette, Wyoming?
Yes.
Is that just north of Gillette?
Yeah, it's Drake's.
Right.
Yep.
I lived in Gillette, Wyoming for 2 years, and I think that was the same location where D&L Sports had their range.
Surefire. I think Surefire owned it at one time.
Right. But yeah, I've been out there, and that's one of my favorite types of shooting to do. I've got a 308 with an old school loophole on it that I've got dope on it out to 1,000. In fact, on my Instagram, there's lots of. In fact, I put up a video this afternoon. I got lots of content of me and my son and whoever else shows up getting hits on little steel targets at 500 yards, just because 500 yards is the longest shot we can get out there. But I've got a 6.5 Creedmoor Howa 1500 I built that I just absolutely love. That's just a tack driver. But yeah, that laying on my belly with a scope with a little tiny target, way the heck out there. That's like zen for me.
Yeah,
that's the only kind of math I like to do.
Yeah, that's a quick way to unwind. I'm gonna pull up. So for anyone who wants to go to Roy's,
oh my lord,
it's Possum Fatback.
Possum Fatback on IG.
Yeah. So here, let's see. I'll show you guys here. Let me see if I can run this in. There you go. Possum Fatback on Instagram. That's what it looks like there. 12-inch steel lollipop. That's
that's my son hitting in a 12-inch plate at 500 yards with my rifle. Yep.
Yeah, Very cool. So let me get one thing in, and then I'll go to Josiah here real quick. The Range says gave us $5. He says, so awesome to have Chad, Josiah, and Roy on the podcast. Love the info that's flowing from the source. Thanks, guys, for being on. Thanks, Hank and Lola. You're welcome. We appreciate that. Josiah, what's your setup, man? Do you do any hunting?
I do. I've got last year I hunted. I have a 14.7 pinned and welded 308 PSA semi-auto AR-10 with an ACSL stock on it. I have I live in South Carolina. I'm never going to really take a shot beyond 50 yards. So I've got too much optic on mine. I think mine's a Vortex 6-24. So I've got that one. This year I'm hunting with a 6.5 Grendel. I actually have to go sight it in. I've just got a 3-9x40 Sig Sauer whiskey, I believe it is, something like it. But 6.5 Grendels are going to be this year. The deer down here in South Carolina aren't huge, so 6.5 Grendel will take care of it.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Josiah, you remember we make scopes, right?
I do.
Oops.
You know what? I somehow knew that was coming out of Chad's mouth. I'm telling you.
I give him a hard time.
Yeah, I knew that was coming out. Let's see. Here's a question that we're getting. What is the number one advice you would offer to a new buyer when it comes to optics for a rifle setup? All you got, like whoever wants to jump in here first can start, and then we'll go around the clock here. Yeah, Roy, what would you say to a new buyer, optics wise?
Because I'm a gun guy since I was 8 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I was scrimping and scrounging money long before I ever got a job at Brownells. I got in the industry, and I've learned this lesson so many times the hard way: is figure out how much you can spend on your scope, and then figure out a way to spend about $300 or $400 more, and cry once.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cry once. Get good stuff. Optics are math. The more refined the math, the more expensive the optic. The optics are one of the few things that you really can't say. The more expensive ones are absolutely 100% better than the less expensive ones. So cry once. Buy a good one.
Yeah. Also, I would say make sure you get good mounts or rings or whatever you get on there. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't. A lot of people criticized art when I did the first offering. We were in the $600 to $700 range, and some guys were like, it's too much. We had a 350, we had a 600, now the 5x25 is going to be around 800.
Yeah.
We teamed up with a company that has really good glass.
Lucid Optics.
Yeah, I mean they're great guys. And now we've got our own line through Lucid. But for me, I just couldn't. I'm a shooter too, like him. I mean, I'm a gun dude. And if I wouldn't put that optic on my gun to go shoot, I'm not going to sell it to you.
Yeah.
Not under my name, right? I mean, we will sell, at times you sell cheaper optics and you get good deals, and I'm not going to name names or whatever, but there's some of them out there that I wouldn't necessarily run, but I didn't put our name on them. So I felt like if we were going to put our name on an optic, it needed to be at least mid-high tier glass, because like he just said, that is one piece of, you can skimp on a lot of things, but from an optics perspective, you're going to get what you pay for. The clarity, the quality, the reticle being etched or printed. I mean, there's just some things on optics that why spend $400 on a really cheap optic when you can spend $600 or $700 on a little bit better one. So
yeah, I'm gonna bring an optic. So if Josiah, you want to jump in. When it comes to optics, I'm going to bring up an optic real quick because I have it here in the office.
And I'm going to default to Chad on that one. He's the optics guy, and I don't want to get any hell about not saying anything about PSA optics when I get back. Nothing against them, just haven't used them yet. I've used what's in there.
Oh, boy.
What I've had readily available.
So,
hey, I'll be honest with you, man. I have certain guns that I really, really like, certain guns I really, really I'm okay with. They're all good, right? But you have personal preferences. Same thing with optics. But I tell you, SIG sent me a optic the other day to play with, to test. They have really come a long way in providing top quality glass. SIG, whoever decided to get SIG in line and actually start producing really good optics, they got their stuff together quick and did a really good job in a hurry.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly who they're working with. So here, I'm going to show this off here.
I think they're doing it themselves, from what I understand.
Oh, okay. They make it. Do you know? Do you know where their glass is coming from?
The one that I've got, based on what the rep told me, it was Japanese glass.
Okay, all right.
Which is as good as, I mean, that's
what I was gonna say. So here you go. Check this out. This is the Brownells Retro. There you go.
All right.
The 4x20. This is the 4x20, and this is Japanese glass. This is so. I actually keep this around the office, believe it or not, when it's not on the rifle. And the reason for that is this glass is really good, man. I'm always sitting in here, and if something's going on out the window, I just go to this real quick. See what are these people up to out there? Right. Yeah, the Japanese glass. Is that the best glass that we can get right now in optics, or
Swiss and German?
Swiss and German. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's gonna be a big
up there, but yeah.
So
stuff like Swarovski, yeah.
That's why. So affordable level, like Japanese, is probably a high end for what you can get on the affordable level, and then you go into Swiss and German glass, right? Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And I just want to say, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, I was the lower end economic scope dude. I mean, I was the guy who, if I went to a Walmart and bought their $200 scope, I had to save up for weeks and go in there and go, oh, here, take my money, right? And I know what that's like. I understand. I know there are folks who are on certain budgets who, I mean, dude, that's what they can afford, and that's I've been there, done that. But once you cross over, if you can afford it, because I've seen lots of folks, and again, I'm not going to name names. I've seen dudes who've got like $1,500 worth of rifle, right? And they put, I won't name the brand scope, one of those $49.95 scopes with got like the lightly yellow colored plastic lenses, it looks like. I just go, oh Lord. And dude, you spent $1,500 on the rifle. You need to spend more than $49.95 on the scope. Come on now.
But I think like Josiah was saying, think about like what distance you're realistically going to be shooting from.
Right.
You know, like what do you really need? Do you need iron sights good enough for you? Do you need a red dot? Do you need some kind of magnification? Maybe you need like a 3 or 4 magnification or something like that. If you're shooting further on a regular basis, then of course you want to kick that up, right? I think it really comes down to all these things, and the answer to that's really different for everyone out there. Yeah.
And normally your average guy can get away if you got a true one, like a 1x6, 1x8, 1x10. Most AR platform guns, with the exception of the 6.5s and whatnot, the 10s, most of your 15 platform guns you can get by with a LPVO easy. Especially one with an illuminated reticle that you could double as a red dot. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. One quick thing about like calibers, man. I'm just getting used to 6.5, and now you guys are kicking out more calibers, so. There's different calibers coming out. Seriously,
6mm arc.
I'm interested in the 6mm. Yeah, the arc. I'm kind of jonesing for it a little bit, but it's a back burner. You know, we did a couple little releases at SHOT Show that we kind of got to live up to first. I think.
Yeah, a couple. I think you guys have like, I don't know, 5 or 10 or 20. Yeah, things that are coming out. Yeah, man. Get that done.
Hey, we're so happy. We did our SHOT Show conference call today. We're on the first floor. We actually got a 2,100 square feet right around the corner from the big dogs, Glock and Smith and all those companies.
Stepping up.
So we're gonna be on the top floor.
No longer in the basement for PSA. Nope. What's happening to the world?
Your fan base is the first group to hear that. We're moving on up.
Awesome. Congratulations. Now maybe you guys can come hang out with Roy. Roy can come hang out with you. Yeah. You guys, I don't know if you're going to be across, I don't know how far are you guys from Glock, Roy? Do you remember usually at SHOT Show? I think it's kind of, in my mind, I'm thinking it's kind of across from you, like on the other side from you guys. The thing
is, since they're opening up that whole other SHOT Show floor, it's over at Caesars Forum, there's no telling. There's no telling where folks are going to be.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
I don't. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you all think that there's going to be a SHOT Show 2021?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Think so?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So predictions here. You guys definitely, you have to get ready, right? Because it's such a big show.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Building booths and all that kind of stuff. You have to do it regardless of whether, if we get down to that time of the year and it gets canceled or not, you have to be like full bore into that, right?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
we Logan does a good job with ours. She outsourced it,
Mm-hmm.
and we just pretty much put the order in. We go a couple months before SHOT Show and walk around and approve it.
Mm-hmm.
But it gets handled. We used to have to tear it down, put it up, do the whole 9 yards, and now the company that designed it does all that for us.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not quite as much work as it used to be, but it's still a lot of.
Mm-hmm.
It's headache.
Yeah. It's a tough thing to do. It's a tough thing to do. Some companies I know about that are really high post, the PSA guys, I could just tell you this, as you're climbing up the ladder, there are some real high post companies I know about actually have like their booth stays in Vegas all the time, man.
Yep.
They have a booth,
Yep.
Vegas specific booth.
Yep.
I don't
Yep.
know. It might they might begin with a B. I'm just saying, don't. Yeah, I don't know. Some people I know out there. Right.
We don't leave ours in Vegas. Ours is actually in Greenville, but the company that does it does a lot of different SHOT Show booths,
Mm-hmm.
and they have a truck. They have their own private truck line that goes from Greenville to SHOT Show,
Mm-hmm.
and they manage the entire life cycle of it from from it being built to it being put up and then put back on the truck and sent back.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it'd be cool.
Yeah. So just in case, I don't know if you're supposed to put that out there, Roy, but I know that there's this is what I've heard. There's one booth that's in Vegas and a completely different one that moves around, like for the NRA situations that go on, just because it's so big.
Not sure where you
You
heard that.
Yeah, I hear these things. That didn't come from you, for the lawyers.
Didn't come from me. No.
Yeah,
no.
the lawyers want to get involved in that thing. So, I think
SHOT Show's huge. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it happen though. There's people that just rent spaces and keep those things there because their booths are just so massive. So,
Yep.
let's see here. Let me see. What's
The
the
SIG booth looks like a shop.
Yeah, SIG's pretty
It's like a
big.
store.
Daniel
What-
Defense,
what-
I think, has the biggest one.
What was the booth a few years ago that had the Loach helicopter suspended from the ceiling with mannequins rappelling out of it? What was that?
At
You
SHOT Show,
remember-
the helicopters.
Yeah, it was a shot. Yeah, it had a helicopter suspended from the ceiling over the booth. I took pictures of it. It was like 3 years ago.
Oh, okay. Someone here might know. Lola's saying Glock is probably the biggest one.
I think
It's a big
SIG's
one.
is bigger.
Yeah, SIG. Okay.
SIG's has got they got 2 stories of beating rooms.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true.
Winchester has a museum display
Yep.
in addition to their
Yeah.
booth. Yeah.
You know what? Also, I think NRA has a pretty massive, like, their screens, I think, beats anyone. I think
Oh,
NRA had probably, if I was going to say it, I would go with, like, NRA has the biggest, I don't know, in the booth wars. Here's what I would like to see, man. I need to see more Hank Strange on screens.
Don't we all?
Yeah, it's, just a personal request.
Right.
I would like to go into Brownells or PSA and see some Hank Strange running around on the big screens. I don't know if
Ladies and gentlemen, Hank Strange has entered the building.
Yeah. Chad, when you're designing the new booth, I'm just saying.
This is the Hank wing.
Well, it's like a fat head on the side of it.
Huh?
Isn't that what they used to call those fat heads?
Oh.
Those,
Oh.
those big stickers that you used to
Yeah,
put
you're
up
talking
around.
about
Yeah,
those
yeah.
football things. You're talking about those.
Yeah,
the
the
football.
fat heads.
Yes, I'll take it. I thought you were saying I do have a fat head. I mean,
Same.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, let's go to some serious questions here. Kathleen Music Lover says, what is the best-selling pistol from PSA? And then maybe we can get the best-selling pistol at Brownells. I don't know if Roy has that information or not.
Yeah.
But what do you guys think is the best-selling pistol that you have? Your dagger is not online, so...
I would probably say, right now, if I were to guess, this is complete guess, based on the deals that we get with it, I'd probably say the Shield.
The Shield.
It is the Shield, Chad. You
It
are
is.
correct.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Number
I'll
one.
say I really don't have access to those numbers.
Mhm.
I'm sure it's some sort of polymer 9 millimeter, but
Mhm.
there's one lately that's been particularly short-term hot, and it's kind of interesting. It's the we've been getting a supply of Italian military police or carabinieri.
Oh yeah, I've seen these.
Beretta 1951.
Yeah, I've seen.
It's a single stack Beretta 9 millimeter. In fact, I'm going to have to get one, but they keep running out. So we've got more on order, more coming. And if you just search 1951, those things, we got some in, didn't know how well they do. We put up some social media posts, and they have just really exploded.
They look good too. What are you guys selling those for?
I think it's like
Is it like
$299.
$299?
Yeah. I mean, it's an Italian-made Beretta. It's not an Egyptian
Right.
It's made in Italy, Beretta pistol carried by the Italian military-style police, the Carabinieri, in the 50s up to the 70s, and they're just cool little pistols. I don't know how many are left in whatever surplus source we're getting them from, but I do know we've run through 2 shipments of them, and we have more coming.
Okay.
And I got to get one too. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Do you guys, does PSA bring in, you bring in some of these kinds of things, right, from time to time?
We just actually got through selling those, or it wasn't that particular gun, but we had a couple. I can't remember the name, but we had the pistols and we had some SKSs, and we actually had some Yugo AK kits that we just. Sold.
Can I put in a personal request for some stuff to get surplus, guys? This would be awesome. Can we get some bullpups? You know, those bullpups from in Europe. I'm trying to remember the names of them now.
Steyr AUG?
No, the Steyrs we have here. What's the ones that you always see like in England and stuff like that? Oh my God.
Oh, the SA85?
Yes. What's up with that? Can we get some? I know. The first thing people are going to say, they don't work. I don't care. I don't care. I will work on it and get it to work. Huh?
I want a legit SVD kit. I've got dreams of building a 6.5 Creedmoor SVD.
Oh my Lord!
If you were a member of my group, you'd see my daily rants.
If you wait long enough, PSA is probably going to be making them.
I want an SVD, man.
6.5 Creedmoor SVD. Oh my! Oh my!
Oh boy. Let's see. I'm trying to see what other. Yeah, I think the surplus stuff is cool. I like even the boxes that the surplus the wooden cases that those things come in. Those are really cool.
I'm on a waiting list for one of those if we get some more.
For the
not all of them
boxes?
come in cool wooden boxes, but I'm on a waiting list for a wooden box. Yeah.
Okay.
I
All
don't
right.
know if I'm gonna get one.
Yeah. I guess people like always just take that and make that into furniture or something, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
The first batch we got was kind of cool because, and I even posted Instagram pictures of this.
Mm-hmm.
It had handwriting with each city that the pistol had been assigned to with the date, and then the box itself. And somebody who saw my Instagram who read Italian was not for pistols. It was for 8mm Breda machine gun ammo. So 8x59. I think it's called the Beretta M37, I think it's called, but it's for a pre-World War II Italian machine gun. So obviously the police guy had some empty wooden boxes laying around. Hey, they happen to be for 8mm Breda machine gun ammo, so they just stuck the pistols in there and wrote their little documentation and locked them up.
Yeah, some of those you could just frame that and put it on the wall.
Yeah.
Armament and Axes. This is Armament and Axes right here, trying to get at me. He says, you kind of cheated hitting a mile. The rifle was set up and dope, and all you had to do was aim. Do it with your own rifle and get back to me. Really? Okay. All right. Listen, I was the first person to actually do it. You can ask the PSA guys. That might seem real easy. Okay, but it's not actually that. Huh?
We make y'all do it within 3 shots, right?
Right.
Oh, there was a little bit more than that, and then I think they were like, okay, some people are going to have to come back and try again. But yes, listen, it's always awesome when someone else sets it up. Because honestly, shooting is a thing that you could take all day just trying to hit something at a mile.
Right.
You know, even with a spotter, it could still take you a long time to do it. So, listen.
Miles, there's a lot that happens a mile away. That's 3.9 seconds of bullet flight. That's not an easy task whether you set it or not.
Yeah. here's my retort to Armament and Axes. When you put something on video, let me know. There you go. I got the video evidence. That's all I need. We can just take it from there. It's not official unless it's on a video. So there you go. Okay, I know Lola says before we start wrapping up here, which we got a couple of minutes, new products from, let's start with Brownells, because obviously I know PSA has a bunch of stuff. Roy,
Right.
are you, I don't know if you can tell us any of this stuff, any new things that we can look forward to coming out from
There's
Brownells?
stuff coming on the future I can't talk about yet.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the
You
newest
can tell
hottest
us.
thing-
I'm not going to tell anyone.
Yeah, and just with all your
It's just
87
It's just going to stay here, just amongst these guys.
No,
Yeah.
right now we had a number of the 6mm arc barrels. We had some Brownells exclusive barrels from
Mm-hmm.
Ballistic Advantage, and those sold out in about a day and a half.
Oh.
And then we've got more coming from Faxon, and then I think today we also got a whole bunch of 6mm arc ammo in. So if you're out there looking to build your 6mm arc, of course we also have the 6.5 Grendel bolt and bolt carrier and magazine will work with that, and then you'll need your 6mm arc barrel and some 6mm arc ammo. And we also, of course, it was already asked earlier, we're hoping the What Would Stoner Do rifles and lowers from KE Arms with the lowers, the polymer lowers, start showing up in about a month and a half.
Oh, those are coming from KE. Okay, nice,
Yep.
nice. And I know you guys from time to time get HK parts and stuff like that, but those probably don't.
Well, I mean, we had a one-time deal. We had a
okay.
one-time buy of HK, real, actual, authentic German HK 416 and 417 stuff, and all the 416 kits are gone. I mean, we still have individual parts, but we had a limited number of the HK 416 parts. Of course, we also have Brownells branded barrels, bolts, I believe the special barrel nut and the little tool you have to put it on there, etc. So, yeah, just check the website for HK 416 stuff.
Okay, very cool. All right, so from the PSA guys, what can we? I know you guys have a lot of stuff. I have actually an interview that I'm doing with you guys. I think that's on the ARV, right, Josiah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we've got something coming out talking about the ARV and the Jackal. That should be out. That's in conjunction with AmmoLand. That should be out sometime soon. And then I don't know, Chad. What did you want to?
Well, I mean, you've got this. We've had some stuff kind of held up, but you got the Dagger, the 74, the 12.5-inch GF3. You got the GF4. You got the AKE, the Crank AKE that'll eventually come with all that. You got the ARV, the Jackal.
Wow. 103.
The 103 will be sometime after the 74, and then I've got a 1911 that I'm gonna do as a couple of limited runs.
Oh,
But I'm
1911.
actually going to personally build those.
Okay.
That'll be very similar to the ones that I did at SHOT Show, if I get some free time. So
yeah, and that's all before the PSA 5. Wait, hold on a second. I don't even want to get into I don't want to start that because that's gonna get really hot and heated here really fast. But but you guys are still developing that, right? Yeah, you're still working on that. That's still in the works, right?
Yes, you are correct. You are correct.
All right, so let's see. Elfster's Rifles and Reloading gave us a couple of bucks here. He says, keep on pumping out that Freedom, PSA, and Brownells. Come hell or high COVID, you need to do another, what is this? Need to do another PSA event. Crazy fun, 556, Jackal, 556, AK. There you go. Cannot wait.
Awesome. Good to hear from you, Todd.
Yes, absolutely. Shout out to Elfsters out there. Let's see. There's so many things here. So I think everyone had a good time here. What's this you want me to remind everyone of, Lola? Folks should check out the Hank Strange YouTube for all the info on PSA offerings, as well as Brownell stuff. You know, we'll if Brownells has anything coming out, we'll have them come back when these guys actually release stuff. You know, we'll have them come back on here as well. I definitely want to thank all of you guys for coming on the show here and hanging out with us and answering questions and taking so much time. I appreciate it. If we could, where should people reach out to you guys if they have more questions or maybe things that we missed here because we just got hot and heated in whatever conversations we were having? How can they reach out to you all? I don't know if you want to go first, Roy.
You can hit me on IG, like Hank was saying, at possumfatback dot. I mean, just possum fatback on Instagram. No O on the front of possum. It's the Arkansas spelling. Or if you call the Brownells switchboard and ask for Roy Hill, they'll hook you to me.
There you go. All right, so that's how you do it. What about for Josiah and Chad here?
If you've got any order questions that you just can't get through on customer service to us, and your past 5 business days, email me, Josiah at palmettostatearmory.com. But as far as regular information coming out, Chad's got a lot of Facebook groups. We've got AR15.com we're always on. We've got different threads in our forum about the new products coming out. Chad, what Facebook groups? Do you want to name them off the different ones?
We kind of boiled it down to have select focus groups. So you got PSAKV group official. You got the Palmetto State Armory AR-15 owners group. You got the Palmetto State Armory AK owners group. You got the handgun group. We got a competition group. And then I have my own personal Carolina Arms review group. So I answer personal questions on products. I started my personal group because people knew that I shot and I could give information on feedback for their product. And then they also wanted to potentially sell the stuff. So it's kind of like this weird thing where I was getting all this stuff in that some good, some bad, some was meh. And I'm like, why not share this with consumers, right? I mean, I'm getting all this different hot rod type racy stuff to go play with. Why not share that information? And everybody's been I've got a couple little reviews out there that I've done, but if somebody
you have your own, you've got a YouTube channel with this stuff, right?
I haven't started a YouTube channel, but I've got the Facebook group that's kind of dedicated to it. And it's really just, I don't really compete with any of the other guys like you that are out there doing this stuff. A lot of this stuff that I get is prototype stuff. Like, for instance, Tandem Cross, I've shot with those guys for years in Steel Challenge, right? And I'm really high ranked in Steel Challenge. So the guy's like, hey, let me send you this to see and see what you think from a PC's perspective, how it works out. Well, it's kind of new. It's cutting edge. It's basically a stock for a Ruger PC carbine. It's called the Upriser, that changes the angle of the stock so it brings the bore axis closer to your eye line of sight instead of a traditional rifle. And that's kind of what kicked it off. I was like, here this thing is. It's really cool. I'm giving these guys feedback. It's something that we use from a competitive standpoint. We may carry it. Why not talk about it and let other people see kind of my thoughts on these products before they're ever released to the market? So it's pretty neat. I mean, but anyway, we've got all those PSA groups, and then if you want to chat with me directly, you can go to that Carolina Arms review. I try not to friend everybody on my personal page, and that was kind of another reason I did it as well.
Yeah, I think it's good when the folks in the industry are doing social media and out there. I think it's a good way for people to be introduced to you, to just put that human face on what you guys are doing. I've seen Roy doing a lot of that stuff on Possum Fatback. It's cool, fun stuff, and it's a good way to see, like, oh, this is like a genuine gun guy, and he's got a human soul. It's always good to see, right? It's tough if folks are looking at folks in the industry, especially at SHOT Show, right? Everyone's coming up to you and talking to you, and you're kind of giving like almost the same message. It's good to see, like, hey, here are these guys. They're real guys. They're gun guys. They're into this. You can follow them and communicate with them a little bit. I think it really goes a long way.
But everybody knows us gingers don't have souls, so there's that.
Yeah, oh, well, that's a whole other thing. Before we get out of here, do you guys have? I see lots of people thanking you all for coming on here. Do you guys have any like final things that you want to get out to the folks before we press the end button on this?
Get out and go shooting, and take somebody who's never gone shooting to the range with you.
Yep.
Absolutely, yes, and
I'm the same way. Yep, same. I was going to say the same thing. Take your guns, get
this
your training.
Sounds stupid, but I was going to say the same thing. If you've never shot before, go out and get some training in.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the big point of this, I know we got sidetracked a little bit. The big point of doing this is that these guys are working every day. These companies are working to get stuff out to you, to get things back in stock. Try to have some patience with them right now with everything going on. They are not going to forget about you. They are going to handle your different questions and things like that that's coming up. It's just, the sign of the times that we're living in. Hopefully this will pass and we'll go back to normal and we'll have all the good gun stuff to ourselves.
You're right. I mean,
Yeah.
It's unprecedented times, and I laugh sometimes because guys are like, I would buy this from you, but it's out of stock. Like it's a plan for us to be out of stock so that we can't make money. That's not a strategy. We don't like it either.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, they're working on it, guys. So that's the big thing. Okay, listen, I want to thank everyone. I don't want to keep these guys any longer. I know, everyone's got things to go back to here. Thanks so much, Brownells, Palmetto State Armory. Thanks to Josiah, Chad, Roy, all you folks out there for coming on. Smash those thumbs ups. Stay right there, guys. I'm going to press the button, end everything here. Make sure you guys press those thumbs ups. Leave your comments here. Maybe we'll get some of these guys to come in and answer questions after this. Make sure you ring the bell so you can be notified every time we go live. Thanks so much, everyone. We are out of here. Good night. Be safe. We'll see you all soon. We're out. Peace.